Welcome back, Tooms. So patch 1.61 is out and there's plenty of fixes and interesting changes to go through. I'm not going to go through all of them, but I'll highlight some of the ones that I found important and some undocumented changes that I've already noticed. When patch 1.6 launched, I made a bug video where I tested and showcased a number of bugs. According to the patch notes, CDPR has fixed most of them, but it's still worth testing to confirm that things work now, and of course discussing the build implications. Unfortunately, I got sick lately, so I haven't been able to make many videos, and that's probably why I sound a bit different as well. Anyway, first of all, cool neon umbrellas have been added. Umbrellas were added in patch 1.5 for NPCs when it's raining, but now they come in various designs and bright neon colors. It's always good to see new additions to the open world, and it just adds to that cyberpunk aesthetic. Next, we have Cassidy's revolver, the Amnesty. So minor spoilers here, you can collect this gun from the Undocumented ending if you successfully complete the bottle shooting minigame.
Thanks, Cass.
You earned it.
Previously, you could collect the gun but couldn't upgrade it to legendary. However, now you can upgrade it, and as usual with revolvers, they're always really strong. When testing the new weapons in 1.6, I noticed that two of the new iconic knives, the Headhunter and the Blue Fang, were only available on saves which had not visited the two melee vendor stores. The first is the one in Pacifica,
Got on hand?
and the second is the melee vendor in the Badlands. They are now available on characters which started a playthrough before patch 1.6. Another important fix was a fix to weapons with explosive damage. Apparently they were dealing less damage than intended. It's definitely worth retrying some of these weapons in patch 1.61. The iconics that deal explosive damage are the new Hypercritical, the reworked O5, Comrade's Hammer, the Ba Sing Chong, and the Shingen Mark V. I did a couple of Don't Fear the Reaper runs with the O5 and the Hypercritical in patch 1.6, and again in patch 1.61. Overall, they're significantly stronger compared to 1.6. For example, I needed the legendary short circuit passive to one-shot these mechs. However, in patch 1.61, I can one-hit them without the legendary short circuit. Next, there's stat bugs. Since launch, Cyberpunk 2077 has had issues with various stats, whether that be broken perks or clothing mods and so on. In patch 1.5, clothing mods were hard nerfed, both having their stats reduced, the number of mod slots was halved, and some clothing mods were restricted to certain pieces of clothing, making them unstackable. However, they also introduced bonus clothing stats that can roll on clothes in exchange for one mod slot. Unfortunately, some of the best bonus stats were not working when they initially launched, however, they should be fixed now. So let's test. First of all, the crit damage bonuses. On legendary clothing, you can roll a 4% crit damage bonus in exchange for one mod slot. Obviously, on face pieces, you can equip mods with better stats such as the Fortuna, Bully, or Deadeye, and on headgear, you can have the legendary Showtime mod for an extra 20% damage. However, on all other pieces of clothing, it's a decent offensive option. I tested these clothing in patch 1.5 and 1.6, and when equipped they did not appear on the stats page, meaning they were likely not being applied and not working. However, when you try it again in patch 1.61, it is working, so that's good. It's probably worth doing some damage number counting as well, but 4% is just really annoying to test. Next, there's Quick Hack cooldown reduction. When I tested this in patch 1.6, both the bonus stats on clothing and the Hackslinger mod were not working. There's no spot for Quick Hack cooldown reduction on the stats page, so I had to add up my cooldown and manually test it. The Quick Hack cooldown reduction from perks, Cyberdeck, and perk progressions seem to be working fine before this patch. Firstly, I'm using the Tetratronic Rippler Mark IV, which provides 45% cooldown reduction, and on this character I have 16 quick hacking skill progression, which provides another 20% cooldown for a total of 65%. I'll be hacking using the legendary system reset since it's got a massive cooldown of 120 seconds, and it should be roughly 42 seconds after the cooldown reduction is applied. I also don't have any quick hack cooldown perks spec'd up. As you can see from the cooldown next to the health bar, it is working. Next, I decided to test the Hack Slinger mod, which is restricted to only headpieces, and the legendary version adds another 18% quick hack cooldown reduction. This should add up to 83% and reduce the system reset cooldown to roughly 20 seconds. Once again, this is working, which is great. This mod being fixed was not mentioned in the patch notes, unlike the clothing bonuses, so that's just good that they made sure to fix this one. Next, looking at the clothing bonuses themselves, at a legendary tier, they add another 6% cooldown reduction per piece of clothing. Since I have the 83% already, I should hit 100% by putting 3 pieces of legendary clothing with those stats. As you can see again, it is working and it's an almost instant cooldown. This allowed me to spam system reset, which instantly takes down enemies and makes it really good. Now that the quick hack cooldown mod and clothing bonuses are working, let's talk about build implications. First of all, at 3 intelligence with the Hack Slinger mod, the other 5 pieces of clothing, and the Cyber deck, you can hit 93% quick hack cooldown reduction. With a small investment into any of the cooldown perks or leveling the quick hack skill progression, you can easily hit that 100% mark. In other words, this fix is a huge buff for low intelligence net running, and for high int net running, you can remove any cooldown perks and spend them elsewhere or try some other Cyber decks. While we're talking about bug fixes, I wanted to point out a few bugs which have not been fixed. So first of all, there's an issue when you are selling to vendors or to drop points. Some of the bonus stats don't appear, so you can accidentally sell them. From my testing, I believe this is specific to the quick hack cooldown bonuses and the reduced visibility bonuses. As you can see, whenever I open up a vendor or a drop point and try to sell to them, those pieces of clothing which should have those bonus stats are not appearing when you're selling. So just be careful that you don't sell them. Another issue that I noticed when I was doing my full playthrough in patch 1.6 is related to perk shards. There should be a total of 10 perk shards throughout the world, which you can collect for bonus perk points. In patch 1.5, they moved 2 perk shards to different locations, and one of them seems to have disappeared after patch 1.6. From my playthrough in 1.5, I found it at this suspected organized crime mission out in the Badlands. However, in 1.6 and 1.61, it's not there. There's a chance that it was just moved to a different location, but I couldn't find it, so I'm just going to assume it's a bug. Let me know if I'm wrong though. Next, taking a look at clothing changes. So as listed in the patch notes, the Heat Resistance Aramid Weave Fixer shirt, which was previously locked to the Street Kid life path, is now available for non-Street Kid paths. You can find it in this location. You kind of have to jump over this wall here, but that's where it is. One significant undocumented change related to clothing is the addition of more clothing at the clothing vendors. I noticed this change pretty quickly because I spent a couple of hours at each vendor just skipping the 24 hours and re-rolling the store's inventory to collect different clothes. It's always good to have more options and designs for character customization, so go check out those clothing vendors. While we're talking about undocumented changes, I noticed a couple of mechanics were changed as well. In patch 1.6, the explosion from the O5 would not damage the player, allowing you to use it in melee range, which was pretty ridiculous. However, in patch 1.61, it does damage the player. After I noticed that change, I figured I should also try Guts, which has an insane knockback after firing. Previously, this used to be able to prevent fall damage, but it no longer does that. Hopefully you guys found this video informative. I've been working on some build related videos, but unfortunately I got sick for the past couple of weeks and lost my voice, so I'm going to wait till it's fully back before completing those videos. Overall, I found these changes to be really good, especially the ones that are related to stats so that you can actually min-max your builds now, and it makes the wardrobe system more relevant now that the best stats are working. Anyway, I'll link the patch notes in the description in case you want to read some of the other ones that I didn't cover in this video. See you next time, Chooms.